thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Some of you may know me, some of you may not. For those of you that don't, my name is Jennifer Langus. I was born in New York, but spent most of my life growing up in Clearwater, Florida. I want to spend a little bit of time sharing with you a little bit about my testimony, what I'm doing now, and the dreams that God has given me for the future. So I'd like to start off with my testimony. I grew up in a Christian home, and at about the age of 10 years old, my church had split, and during that time my parents started going to another church, and I got really angry with the church, and slowly throughout the years stopped going to church as much and stopped walking with God. And at age 18, my parents divorced, and I kind of just went downhill after that at 18, just doing everything and anything that I could. The drinking, the drugs, the sex, you name it, I was pretty much doing it. And that continued on until I was about 27 years old. And so June 2011, I finally had reached rock bottom. I had been out all day with my friends, I'd been drinking, and literally drank myself sick. So I'm laying on the couch that night and just laying there crying my eyes out, wondering what I'm doing with my life. I'm single, I don't have any kids, I'm just getting drunk all the time. There's no point. I have no future or anything going on for me. So I finally thought back to when I was really truly happy, and it was when I had a relationship with God. So as I laid there crying my eyes out, I was like, okay God, I choose to follow you again. I choose a relationship with you. And I quit drinking at that time, and a few days later I'd gotten back into church, and the church message was about the Holy Spirit speaking to you and not to ask any questions, but to just go. And I sat there and laughed, and I was like, okay, God's not gonna talk to me, let alone is he gonna tell me to go anywhere anytime soon. And 2 days later he proved me wrong, and I was talking to one of my friends at work, and she had invited me to her church and told me that a lot of the people there had gone on this mission trip called the World Race. So I get home from work that night, and I look up the World Race. For whatever reason, it got stuck in my head. So I looked it up, and I'm looking at the website. My heart starts pounding, and I get all choked up, and I close my laptop. I'm like, no, I'm not a missionary. I'm not doing that. The next day, I applied for that missions trip, and in January 2012, I launched with another 34 other people for an 11-month mission trip to 11 different countries across Central America, Africa, Europe, and Asia. And it was the transformation in my life. God completely changed me, and just I was a completely different person. And on the mission trip, God continued to change me. I saw the world in a whole new light, and just felt like I had purpose. And we did everything from going to orphanages, to working in the red light district, to going door to door, preaching at churches. I mean, you name it, we did it. And it was just an awesome experience to feel like I had purpose, to go show the love of Christ to others, to share with them my testimony and how God's grace and redemption is such a beautiful thing. So after that, my first month had been in Guatemala, and then I went to Honduras after that, and both of those two places, those first two countries, just held a special place in my heart. I returned the end of December 2012, or the beginning of December 2012, and in January 2013, God just really spoke to me about coming back. And I had went to Honduras for 3 months in May of this year, and right now I'm actually in Guatemala, in Puerto Barrios, working with a missionary group called, or missionary home called Casa Verde. Their ministries they have a radio station, an internet cafe, and a bookstore, but also they have a missionary home where they host missionaries. I was there on the World Race last year. So right now I'm back here again. It'll probably be about a year that I'm going to be here in total. Only God really knows. But when we have groups, I am the one that's kind of helping leading that. I do the driving in this big 1972 panel van. And we go to different ministries, the orphanage, the city dump, the nursing home, different churches. So when there's teams, I help lead that. Right now, we don't have any teams as of right now, but when there's not, I'm also a DJ on the radio. You can listen at radiofreelove.com. I'm on Monday through Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I had to throw that in for you. But yeah, so I do that. And I'm also help with the housekeeping and cooking in the house. Two of the ministries that we focus on a lot, even when there's teams not here, is one being the city dump. The city dump is where all the trash comes from all around Barrio, San Tomas, and the surrounding cities. All goes into this one dump. I just want you to take a minute and think about the things that you throw away. The food that's in your refrigerator that is gone bad and it smells, and the things that you just don't want anymore, and all your garbage. Well, on top of it here, we also throw away our toilet paper. So you can imagine what kind of stuff is in this garbage dump. And there is 150 people from ages little babies all the way to adults that work in this dump. Obviously, like they start working about like age 3 or 4, not the babies, but they start working when they're like 3 or 4 years old, digging through their trash in their bare hands, picking out the things that they can use to recycle, their plastics, their aluminum, things like this. So we go in there once a week and feed the families that are working there. There's a family that actually even lives there, right there on the property. We just recently put in fresh water for them, so now they have that fresh drinking water and ways to clean their hands. It's just been a really neat experience building relationships with them, feeding them, and just loving on them and just showing them Christ's love. Another thing that we do is we work with a group of youth here that are breakdancers who are trying to make a difference, because breakdancers have such an image of, oh, they're breakdancers, they must be into drugs, sex, rock and roll, all that kind of stuff, right? But this group of youth that we're working with actually doesn't do any drugs, doesn't smoke or anything like that, and they're very careful with their words. They don't use any bad words because they want to be set apart, to be different. So we just work with them, just building them up, encouraging them, supporting them by watching them dance or learning how to dance with them. And it's just a really awesome relational ministry that we do as well. So that's what I'm doing here. My long-term goal, the dream that God has given me, is to one day to have a youth center somewhere here in Latin America. I really believe it will be, but somewhere where I can have a home where kids that live on the street can get off the street, they can live there, but also to have a property that the kids that aren't living with me have a place to go. I'm a strong believer that when teens have time and nothing to do is when they turn to drugs and sex, because there's nothing else to do. So I want to have a place that reaches the youth, that they have a place to go, that's something to do. And I don't know the exact details of that yet. That dream is still like in the process, but I have a feeling that that's going to be in maybe the next 5 years or so. So we'll see, only God knows that as well. But in the process up to that, I want to partner with different ministries, learn how it's run, and another thing I want to do is I want to do a DTS, which is a discipleship training school through YWAM, and actually I have been accepted to go in June of 2014 to Australia to do my discipleship training school there. And the way that works, it's a 5-month program. The first 3 months is in like classroom setting, like learning more about the Word of God, about listening to prayer, about worship, the character of God, and building up my own character in the process. And then the last 2 months we go out on a mission trip and we use things that we have learned. So the nice thing about the one that I'm going to, it's on the beach, and I love the water. Obviously, this is why I'm here. But yeah, I love the water, and I feel closer to God there. I don't know, but it's my thing. So it's actually a 5-minute walk from the beach, and the ministry that they focus on is ministry to youth through surf and skate, which I think is just an awesome experience, and totally in exactly like where I want to go, working with youth and all that. So I think it'll be beneficial as well to learn different things, how to run my youth center later, how to work with different youth, and yeah, so we'll see where God takes me through that. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching my video. Like I said, I'm not sure exactly what I'll be doing. God knows. I just know that my big picture is to start a youth center one day, and I know that God's grace and His redemption is a beautiful, beautiful thing. I'm not the same person that I was 2 years ago, and I only have God to thank for that. So you can, I am looking for support both financially and prayerfully. You can be just praying for financial support. You can be praying for wisdom and the things that I do, and that I'll continue to absorb everything that I can, that I'll continue to show God's love and have peace. And my financial needs is I'm looking to raise money for here in Guatemala, and then also for my DTS in Australia as well. So you can donate online at simplykingdom.org/Jen-Regas. It's right here on the bottom of the screen. You can look that up. Or you can also make sure to check out my blog. I try to blog kind of often, but it's jenlangus@wordpress.com. Again, thank you so much for watching, and God bless.